you breathe purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors? Now, time for the most in-depth look at the world of ECU athletics. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Now, here's your host, Stephen Igo.
It is going to be a fun Friday edition of Hoist the Colors. A little bit of a different look if you're watching our live stream.
Apparently my mic's not working. Now it is
we're
live.
on.
So we already have technical difficulties as we start.
See, you were bagging on another mic yesterday, Igo. I think it's user error. It's only happening to you.
Maybe so. I guess I'm going to have to hold this the whole show, but we'll get it fixed. All right, we're live on Friday, April 19th. A little bit of a different look if you're watching our live stream because we had to change desks. We have a 3-person cast today. We've got Scott Rogers. We've got Joe Sampson. And we've got Philip Pilkington behind the mic, and we're excited about today's show. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and we'll try to keep it as real as possible and try to keep it as informative as possible. But we're going to talk some baseball, some transfer portal, and everything we can with this microphone before it dies. We'll start with Joe Sampson. Joe, how's it going?
It's going great. Can't say anything bad. Yeah, so, it's just been one of those things. Got to double-check on my end now. Scooter, you should probably do the same. It's been good. It's been a good week. Should be a good weekend for the Pirates. Obviously, we have the voice, Scooter Rogers, in here with us to talk Pirate baseball, so I'm excited. And then the Jets dropped new uniforms. I don't know if anybody saw the greatness of bringing back the New York Sack Exchange-era uniforms, but we're back, baby. Aaron Rodgers, the Messiah, the second coming of Joe Namath, is going to bring us back to the promised land. But I'm great. How about you?
There's zero chance of all that happening, but
No,
I do need to look at the new
uniforms
uniforms.
already happened.
Well,
So, that's already
everything
checked off.
after the new uniforms.
That's fair.
The Broncos are dropping new uniforms on Monday.
You
And I
guys
can't wait
should
to see how
worry
terrible
about
they
a
are.
new draft strategy. You guys are watching Moneyball to try and figure out analytics, according to Sean Payton.
That's fine. It's a rebuilding year. Scott Rogers is in studio as well. He'll be calling ECU Wichita State tonight, 6 o'clock, 5:45. He'll be on the air.
That's right.
Scott, how have you recovered from Tuesday's marathon yet?
Almost caught up on sleep. Almost caught up on sleep.
Okay. But not there quite yet?
Not quite there yet. Not having to be up at 3:30 this morning for Talk of the Town.
It's because
Okay.
you're a champion.
That's right.
It's what champions do.
Built for it.
Built for it.
So y'all got back, what, 2:30-ish?
2:40
2:40.
is when I pulled into my driveway.
Okay.
Very specific.
Yes.
So we'll see if we can make it to the end of the show. Scott Rogers still awake. All right, Philip Pilkington is behind the glass. Philip, how's it going?
Good until technology decided to hate all of us with your mic. By the way,
Like the
Scooter,
whole
I think
whole
your
time.
mic's good. You can get rid of that slack in yours. It's Igo. The one Igo has is the one he had yesterday that likes to mess up. So there's that. This computer was messing up. That y'all's mics are messing up. It's Friday for everybody, I guess, but I'm good. I'm excited to talk some Pirate baseball, some transfer portal news, and whatever else Joey Football decides to rant about, including hockey.
Hopefully this is not a sign of what might happen tonight with Joe producing baseball.
Oh,
Why
goodness.
would you say it? Why
Shut
would
up,
you
Scooter.
put it in the air?
Well, it's a known fact.
Dropbox is gone officially. It's going to happen. I'm just calling it early. So get ready for that.
So East Carolina is hosting Wichita State. We do have to at some point talk about the departure of Shane Calhoun, which is going to
That's why I'm wearing black.
really hurt Joe.
I'm
It is a
mourning.
funeral.
I'm in mourning.
We'll start with baseball, and I do want to talk NIL, transfer portal, all that. We'll get into that. Wichita State is in town. The Shockers, 115 in the RPI, 21-17. They were hovering around 100 guys, and so they lost to Oral Roberts, which, by the way, was in the College World Series last year and is now like 296th in RPI out of 305 teams. So quite the fall off there from Oral Roberts. But anyways, Wichita State comes into town. Scott, your research, what has that revealed about these Shockers?
Wichita, good hitting team. They got a lot of guys over 300. They've got some good arms on this staff as well, and really surprised that their record is what it is. Didn't really know what to expect from them this season just because you got a first-year head coach. You had so many guys go into the portal last year after Lauren Hibbs was really unexpectedly let go from his role. But they, I think, have maybe performed a little bit better than some expected because they had so many new players. But this is also a team I think that, certainly could get hot, and when you get into postseason time, could be a threat down in Clearwater.
Yeah, they're a weird team, man. I mean, they had lost like 5 or 6 in a row, and then they won the series against FAU, and now they lose to Oral Roberts. So something I did notice about them is they do have some top-end pitchers, and they can hit. They don't hit for a ton of power. Somebody posted on Hoisted Colors they get hit by a ton of pitches. So I think they're 7th nationally in hit by pitches. They do strike out a lot. So it could be interesting to see how many Ks Trey Savage gets. And I do know, talking to Trey earlier this week, Scott, that, one game at a time, all that, but I think he's looking forward to this outing after what happened last year, probably the worst start of his career.
Yeah, and I think everybody is probably going to want to get some wins this weekend after that trip last year. And luckily today, today we have luggage. We have our clothes. We have clothes we can wear. Unlike last year on Friday when we woke up before playing Wichita State. So that's always a positive. But yes, that trip last year certainly was not the best one, and the play on the field was not the best either. And so you certainly look to not necessarily get some revenge on Wichita State, but you certainly want to win this series because of it.
I do want to ask you, Joe, like as a player,
the
revenge factor, and I asked Trey too, like, all right, you play a team, but now like everybody's gone. Like none of the same players really, and there's a few, but he said, well, the name is still the same, the team is still the same, so he's still treating it as a revenge game. How about you from a player vantage point?
Yeah, I still hate NC State. We played NC State my freshman year after Dave Doran did the stupid little thing with his, I'm going to take the Pirate and, the rest. We were angry. It's a whole different staff. Coach Houston comes in. It was the Coach Mo staff the year prior, and we were still fired up about it. And then that game wasn't what we wanted it to. We all know how the last one played out. So we still, State still circled on that calendar. App State circled the same way. App State went through a whole different head coach from the first time we played them to the last time we played them. It always is a factor. It's the school. Yeah, you want the coach. Yeah, you want the players. But, it's the university first. You're just trying to beat that team.
Philip, Chuck is giving you a shout-out on YouTube for producing the show, so you at least have a fan out there.
Thank you, Chuck.
Your thoughts on this series from a broad point of view, or if you want to add anything on the topics we've discussed?
I've not done as much research on the Shockers as I want to, but, look, I know it sounds cliche, but play their brand of baseball, right? It's been a tough week. Sunday didn't go how we planned. The outcome of Tuesday was great, but, it went wacky, of course. At the end of the day, clean up some of the defensive mistakes that have kind of hindered this team, because there's a lot of earned runs over the last 2 games. Hit with guys in scoring position, which is something they've done a good job of, and continue to pound the strike zone. Attack, attack, attack. There's been a few guys lately that it seems like when they walk a guy, they let up a hit, they start trying to pitch around people. Obviously, I'm not talking about Trey Savage. I'm not talking about Zach Roop. But take a page out of their playbook, out of Jake Hunter's playbook. He had first and third the other night, 1 out, and just started pounding the zone and mowing guys down. So continue to do that. Force them to beat you, because they probably won't. If you're at your best, they can't beat you.
Friday's pitching matchup should be one of the better pitching matchups in certainly the American, maybe even the country, Scott, as Trey Savage will go for ECU against Caden Favors, left-handed pitcher, 5-3, 3.50 ERA, really good strikeout numbers. So this should be potentially a lower-scoring game tonight.
It could be. Favors had a really good start to the year. Or I guess the best way to put it is maybe mellowed out after the first few weeks of the season. But, yeah, really good pitching matchup tonight. And, of course, what Trey did last Friday against Charlotte was unbelievable with that combined no-hitter. And then, you add the Favors arm in there too. Should be a good matchup tonight. And and Cliff Godwin talks about it too, getting out to a 1-0 lead in the series is so big, especially in conference play. And you've got to bring it every night in the American. I talk about it a lot with him, bring it up to him how everybody plays their best against East Carolina now in the American. You're never going to get an off night from any club, because everybody wants to beat East Carolina. They want to beat that top team in the program, because that's where this program is right now.
I feel like ECU's in a little bit of a tough spot outside the fact Trey Savage is on the mound, just because that Tuesday game took so much out of the staff. I mean, Shinkman threw 70-plus pitches, Bill threw 50, maybe into the 60s. Can't remember. Di Lorenzo threw 50-something. Trey has now thrown back-to-back outings with 100-plus pitches. So, like, ideally you'd want him to go deep into the game. But, what do you think is available from a, bullpen standpoint going into tonight?
I think you still got some arms. Obviously, Aaron Crowler's been dealing with some arm soreness, so not sure what his status is going in to the weekend. But I think I'm not sure how many Jake Hunter threw. I think he was in the 50-pitch range.
Yeah, he was in that range too, I think.
So, you still got some arms there that are going to be out with Shinkman, which we haven't seen Wyatt a lot of times on Fridays this year. He's mainly been in those Saturday games. It's really we've seen guys like Jackson DeLorenzo who've been coming in these Friday games because, you only having to throw an inning or two because Trey Savage is going so deep. And so if he goes 6 or 7 tonight, that's going to be big for this bullpen.
All right, looking at the conference standings, UTSA is 9-3. They're still on top. ECU 8-4. South Florida, Wichita State, both 7-5. So again, the Shockers only a game behind ECU. This is a big series from their vantage point. FAU and Memphis are 6-6. You have Tulane and Charlotte at 5-7. UAB at 4-8. Rice at 3-9. UTSA hosts UAB this weekend. You would think that at the least they'll take 2 out of 3, if not sweep. So Joe. Big series for ECU to keep pace. They're kind of in a spot where their conference slate a little tougher than UTSA, where UTSA at the end of the year, I think they play like Wichita and some of these teams back to back, maybe USF and also FAU. So ECU, I think, just needs to keep pace in that regard.
Yeah, the first thing is what a great opportunity to play possibly your best ball down the stretch. If you're UTSA and you got the early win in the conference play against ECU, can you top that? Can you add to that? Can you create the momentum you need? ECU can ride the hot streak if they take a nice weekend this weekend against Wichita State, if they take it against Memphis, if they do all the things they need to do and finish it out strong. You're playing your best ball going into Clearwater, especially having those tough tests and knowing the roadmap, so to speak, as to how to handle these teams so you can stay the number one, be the undisputed, and then get a national seed.
All right, so, Philip, I'm going to read out the remaining schedule. Again, ECU – in conference play at least, is trailing UTSA by a game. If they finish with the same record, it would be co-champions, but in reality, like UTSA would be the 1 seed. They would have the head-to-head. So
and to clarify some confusion earlier in the week, there's only 8 teams that make the conference tournament. 9 and 10 do not make it.
There was an announcer that said there was a double bye or a bye for the first top two teams.
I believe that is the case for the softball conference tournament.
There we go.
There you go.
Baseball is top 8.
Top 8. So the bottom 2, which right now will be UAB and I think Rice, would not make it. All right, so ECU hosts Wichita State in a 3-game series, and they go to Memphis. Then they host South Florida. They go to Tulane, and they host Rice.
The Fighting Corridors.
UTSA hosts UAB, goes to Rice, hosts Wichita, hosts South Florida, finishes the season at FAU. So 15 conference games left. That's a lot. That's a lot of conference games left. So what do you think, Philip? Do you think the Pirates, obviously they can make up the difference, but do you think they have a favorable schedule down the stretch, or is it pretty even?
I think it's pretty even. I don't think, with the exception, Rice is bad, right? We know that.
Yes.
I guess the one benefit is that we host them and that UTSA goes there. Yes, Hogwarts is bad. And when you look at everybody else in this conference, ECU's clearly the best team in the conference, or a top 10 team in the country, and UTSA is good. But when you look at the teams that they're having to face, different teams have played better in more games or worse in more games, but I don't think the talent discrepancy is enough to say, hey, UTSA has an advantage or East Carolina has an advantage going down the stretch here. Slight nod to UTSA because they're a game and a half up, but other than that, look, A, it's baseball, B, I just, if there was another team down there as bad as Rice, and one team had to play both the crap teams still and the other team didn't, sure, give a nod to that team. But it's been a really competitive conference.
Yeah, I think the way you're going to make up games, or if you're UTSA, separate yourself more, is by sweeping series. That is how you make a huge difference in the standings. They went to Tulane and swept, and that's the one conference series they've swept. ECU obviously swept UAB at home. It's not going to be easy, but if the Pirates could sweep Wichita this weekend, and even if UTSA trips up once and loses, you can just make up such ground, Scooter, just by sweeping. When you sweep versus winning a series.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just getting that extra win is so big. And obviously you have some other sweep opportunities this year. I think Rice at the end of the year is a good one. Tulane has showed that they can be swept at home, so I think that's another one. The one series or two series that I think are going to be interesting, Memphis and South Florida, because Memphis is a really good hitting team. They're not the best pitching team right now, but they've got some hitters. I know NC State transfer Will Marcy is on that club now. Had a really good weekend last weekend against UTSA. And then South Florida, you never know.
Who knows with South Florida?
You never know what you're going to get. But if you get the good South Florida, then
yeah, you're in a dogfight.
Exactly. If you get the bad South Florida, then you have a chance to sweep them. So depending on which one you get, it's going to be either a good series or a really good sweep opportunity.
All right, let's go around the horn here. We did this a couple of weeks ago on a Friday show. We'll go pick to click for ECU baseball for the series. You can go pitcher, you can go player individually, or I guess you can go position group if you really want to. But we'll start. Let's put Phillip on the hot seat first. Pick to click, Phillip. Who you got?
Ooh, it's going to have to be a relief pitcher. It's going to have to be somebody not named Zach Root or Trey Savage. I'm going to go Jake Hunter. I know that he has been a starter in the past. I think that Cliff would use an opener on Sunday or Saturday night if, Mother Nature forces us to do that. And then I think Jake Hunter comes in and throws 4 to 5 shutout innings to clinch the Sunday game and clinch the sweep for the Pirates.
Joseph?
I'm going to go Ethan Norby. I think the lefty matchup is just too valuable for us to have and utilize, especially considering all the bats Wichita State has in the lineup. I think Norby's the guy.
You took mine, so now I need time to think about it.
You shouldn't have had me go before you.
This is true.
We've done this all year, people. Igo goes last and wonders why his pick isn't there.
What you got, Scooter?
Now, I will say that a couple of my picks to click.
Clicks to pick.
Yes, have actually worked
Have
out.
clicked.
Yes, they've clicked. So I'm going with someone who has been playing really good baseball here lately. Got a little bit of a hot streak going. Pirates center fielder Riley Johnson is my pick to click this week.
No labrum, no problem.
That's right.
I like it. I feel like we're just going to get one of those weekends from Justin Wilcoxon. No idea why. Just got sometimes he's like either blistering hot at the plate or, it goes the reverse way. I feel like this is going to be one
And
of
man,
those
did he
weekends.
take a beating.
Yeah, he took a bat off the arm or something. Elbow, gosh.
We hurt the ting under our tent.
That's not cool. By the way, how was your second tent experience of the year?
It was much better than pictures might show. It was 100 times better than Florida Atlantic. One, because you didn't have fans climbing over you during the game. But it really was not bad. It was a nice night. It was a little cool there at the end. The only bad part about it was there was a chain link fence in front of us, and then you had the netting of the backstop too, so it was tough looking through both of those. But in all honesty, it was not that bad of a setup.
Was that the smallest strike zone you've seen in a college game?
Yes.
Yes, I agree. Watching on TV. Now,
there was nothing on the corners. Nothing.
Yeah, the camera was like a little off center, but it looked like just unless it was
we were
pipe.
directly behind home plate. So I mean, we had a perfect view of it. It was you literally had to put it right down the middle for it to get called a strike.
Painful. All right, let's get a break in. We got a question from Zach about basketball recruiting and also transfer portal for football. We'll hit on that on the other side. This is Hoist the Colors. We'll be right back.
New Toyotas, 0 down and only $369 a month at Greenville Toyota during the Great Rate Sales Event. Buy with 0% or get Corollas, $369 a month with 0 down. This is not a lease. You own it. Plus, get our Greenville Advantage at Greenville Toyota.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt & Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt & Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
Boom, dum, dum. Get low, get low, get low. 369, ooh, she fine. Hoping she can sing it to me one more time. Get low, get low, get low, get low.
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Ready to save thousands with a great rate? Get 0% financing at Greenville Toyota during the Great Rate Sales Event. Shop our massive inventory of new Toyotas, available as low as 0%. Hurry to Greenville Toyota today, where our volume saves you money.
We're live with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Johnny Roger!
Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
Welcome back in, Hoist the Colors, on this Friday, April 19th edition of the show. Different setup today, different backdrop. We're using Talk of the Town backdrop because we got three gentlemen on the set, and we've got one man behind the glass, Philip Pilkington, pulling the strings, messing up our technology. One step at a time.
Normally it's Joe messing things up.
This is true. And it'll probably happen tonight. So tune in 94.3 The Game, 5:45.
And we're on the plus all weekend too.
That's right. The what do they call it? The pass through.
Pass through, baby.
Joe messes things up, and somehow Dom always gets blamed.
Yeah,
it's kind of how it works.
How much more feedback do you get? I mean, obviously people listen to 94.3 in the radio, but like a lot of people watch the plus too. So when you're on the pass through, you probably have double the audience. How much more feedback do you get when you're on the pass through?
Not much,
really.
I don't get mean tweets anymore. I used to.
So you're doing a good job. No, like nobody on Hoist the Colors would ever say anything negative about Scott Rogers.
Nobody on Hoist the Colors never say anything negative about anything.
That's correct. That never happens.
So Joe Sansom.
Yeah. I was gonna say on the pass-through thing, they do like complain. They don't complain about Scooter directly, but they're like, "Why does the broadcast on Plus sound like a radio broadcast?"
Because it is one.
Spoiler alert here.
Yeah,
it is.
Were you ever bad mouth on Hoist the Colors as a player?
No, I didn't play.
He was called a quality walk-on by Stephen Igo.
Quality
highlight of my career.
Wow,
that's quality walk. I didn't do anything he needs to. All right, that's gonna wrap it up here. That's it. That's highlight right there.
Joe's like, I'm good.
Flip it. No, I played the bowl game. I didn't have anything where I didn't mess up the snap on field goal. Didn't get blocked. So that was a huge point here. Nobody would have even known I was in. And then I was in for like 3 or 4 plays for Birmingham Bowl for victory. So nobody would be like, wow, Joe dropped the game-winning touchdown.
Right.
That's where Shane Calhoun came in. Rest in peace.
All right, let's get into that discussion. Shane Calhoun, no longer a Pirate, and obviously a good friend of yours. You shared a tight end room with him for many a year. And, I kind of touched on why this situation is much different from Omega Blake and some of the other ones that we'll talk about. But your thoughts on Shane Calhoun departing after 4 years at ECU?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to say you did it the right way, but this is the way you've always envisioned if that's how it's going to go, is you get your 4-year degree, which he made a promise to Mama Told Mama Calhoun he's going to get his degree. He's getting in biology because he's the smartest dude I know besides
It's not an
Flynn.
easy thing to do.
No. Well, minoring in Japanese.
Is that
Yes.
for
a
real?
real thing?
Yes.
All right, now I'm even more impressed.
He's the smartest person I know besides Alex Flynn, and he's studying for his MCAT. He went about it the right way. He came in, he started as a true freshman with all the tight end injuries and COVID, and then the year after that took a leadership role. Didn't necessarily move to the side, but went to a different role with Ryan Jones coming in, and then just knew what he had to do there. Had some injury trouble last year on such a difficult offense to be a part of. He did everything the right way. He came the right way, always the right attitude. It was never one of those things where he was throwing his helmet on the sideline like, why am I not getting my touches? He just went out there, lunch pail mentality, and I wish him the best because he truly knew this was the best opportunity for him, and he had no love lost between anyone.
So I almost feel like, from his vantage point, like last year should have been his year at ECU, and it just, Ryan Jones, we all know had the talent, but I would say Shane was a more consistent player. And I feel like going into last year, I was like, Shane's going to be one of the top options, along with Jalen Johnson. From my passing standpoint, it just never materialized. The injury played a role in that. He had the elbow issue too, but I think that was his chance, and it just so happened that they had the worst offense in modern history of ECU football. So, I don't blame him for moving on. And then new offensive coordinator comes in. He brings in Casey Kelly. Tyler Savage emerges. That probably played a role in the decision.
It always does. I mean, Casey's a phenomenal athlete, but when you have the prior experience and you have that kind of relationship already, Casey was at Ole Miss with JDB.
Yeah.
So, everybody looks, the Oregon transfer. Casey Kelly was at Ole Miss before he was at Oregon with John David Baker. So there's that familiarity. The tight end coach that came with him from Ole Miss, there's that familiarity too. You know how he reacts in the system. You know the mismatches you're going to get, and all these different things play into a role of that. And unfortunately for Shane, he was hurt when JDB came in. He's been hurt all spring, and then guys around him are also performing, which is great for the room. But for you start to fall down the list a little bit because you're not available.
I almost look at it as not that he would have been transferring to ECU, but in a way he had to kind of start over at ECU. So it's almost like, all right,
exactly
you didn't agree.
What it is.
Why not just go somewhere else and try? So everybody gets mad about, hey, not a true pirate, whatever. I think it's different if a guy graduates, which he's going to do, again, degree in biology, compared to some of these other guys who literally come in for a spring, doesn't work out, and they leave. I think that defines not a true pirate.
The not a true pirate argument is horse. And I have another word I'm not supposed to say on this air. Because not only did Calhoun go through the 3-9 season of the 2020 role and then tried to flip it again in the 2021 before we had the great 2022 season, he was here every step of the way. It wasn't like he came in for half a semester and was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't do this. He bled, he sweat, he pushed, he led. He did everything he had to do, and that's not just as a Shane Calhoun fan, first off, which we all know, previously conceived. I am the president of the Shane Calhoun fan club. I always
still want him to throw the ball to Shane more.
Still throw it to Shane
even
more.
as new destination.
Even right now, on the street, throw it at him. He'll catch it. But there's a difference between you coming in here for 6 months and then leaving, or taking the program where it was and leaving it better than you found it. And that's what he did. He did it the right way. He's leaving at the end of spring. He didn't decide to sit out in February. He didn't decide to sit out halfway through the season. He did everything he was supposed to. He had to make a business decision, which everybody now in the current NIL world should understand. But hey, no, everybody just sees transfer portal and decides he's not a true pirate.
Can I speak up real quick?
Please,
say
please
what this kind of maybe a little bit different situation.
Are you going to say AMAC?
I am.
It was funny because we have a comment from Donnie Run Pass Kirkpatrick on YouTube with an asterisk that says, unless they transfer to NC State.
No, I will tell you.
So that kind of lines up.
I texted him on the day, and I said, I will always have your back. But I swear to God, if you put on that red, I will never talk to you again. And he liked the message, so he understands. Yes. And no, the AMAC, I didn't get a chance to tell him not to. So
I'm not going to lie.
So it's Joe's fault?
It might be.
I was pulling for AMAC last night when I saw him up the plate. Now, he was playing Carolina, so that might have a lot to do with it.
Speaking of a big win for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, that was AMAC had a homer. He should have had two.
I'm happy AMAC's having a good year. He swings at every pitch. There was a sequence where basically if you don't execute your pitches, he's going to hit it out. If you execute it, you can strike him out. And I like that he's being aggressive because that plays to his strengths. All right, Shane Calhoun's offer list: Houston, Campbell, Tulane, New Mexico State, Marshall, USF, Oregon State, and Cal. For a Florida kid, it'd be interesting if he goes to the West Coast. What do you think about, like, if he transfers to, like, an interconference foe? Is that not a true Pirate territory, or is that acceptable if he goes to Tulane or USF? Neither of which are on the schedule this year.
Do schools still have to sign off if you go to a school in the conference?
Not if you're grad transfer. He's immediately eligible, and his portal window is longer because he's a grad transfer and eligible immediately. I don't know if it's not a true – if he would have gone to, like, App State, that's not a true Pirate territory. Like, if you go – yes, Tulane is a new head coach with the Troy head coach that came in. Houston, obviously, is Willie Fritz, the former Tulane head coach. The USF could be a different role also, but there is a connection down there. One of the strength coaches from ECU went down to be the number 2 guy at USF, so there's that familiarity. So I don't necessarily put that in the not a true Pirate realm, especially if we're not playing them next year. I think it's the interstates and, like, rivals. Like, we don't really have, like, a true rival in American right now, but, like, a Charlotte.
If he goes to
or an
Charlotte,
App State.
not a true Pirate.
If he goes to Charlotte, I mean, poor Shane.
I think there is a former Pirate who may be going. I swear this guy is in the room. Donnie Run Pascal Patrick says UNC Charlotte is 50% as bad as NC State. This guy's like, he's commenting before we even talk about these things.
He's in a box, Joe.
He's in a box.
Omega Blake, I'm hearing, could wind up at Charlotte.
Biff.
Which
Biff Bogies.
either way, he's not a true Pirate. He was here for a semester. So here's the deal. Aaron on Facebook says, any thoughts on the O-line transfers? All right, so Kayshawn Sapp, Kendarius Small. Here's the latest. So Kendarius Small, good guy. I think he just came in and, it looked like he wasn't going to play. So he's going as a JUCO recruit to a different opportunity. Kayshawn Sapp, talented from Florida State, just did not mesh well with the locker room. He's got 3 years left. I don't want to say they told him to leave, but it was kind of recommended, mutual parting. Same deal with Omega Blake. I heard from day one he just was not – it just wasn't a fit. And so you can have talent, but, Joe, if you don't fit the culture, it's not going to work. And you saw transfers come in, leave because of that. You saw guys who eventually adapted and became part of the culture and had success.
Yeah, it's the Mike Houston culture, first off. It's not for everybody. We're in full pads on Tuesdays. We're in shells on Wednesdays. We're full inside run on Tuesdays. Like, there's a legitimate culture behind what we do, the work you're putting in, the extra work, the meetings, the extra meetings. The defense is always doing something extra. The offense trying to follow suit now with the John David Baker era. It's not for everybody. Houston's not going to coddle you. He's not going to be this player's coach. Like, it's okay. You sit out today. That's okay. You don't need to practice. That's not how we do things here. And I think for some people, when they come into that culture and they see the record from last year and they're not as well versed in what the Pirates truly stand for, they don't mesh well with that. They don't mesh well with the, great, you may be the number one. You're blocking on the perimeter for this screen drill. And people are like, I don't block. Here you do. No block, no rock. And that's just kind of the mentality. And I think for some guys, especially on the O-line front with a new coach, that you got to prove yourself. They just didn't necessarily buy in the same way.
Jason Kidd says if AMAC goes anywhere except State or Carolina, we're not having a discussion about him. He left the wrong way and went to that godforsaken program.
I hate that red.
Scooter, do you think I don't even want to talk about it, but AMAC coming to town next week, it should be interesting to see the reaction.
It will be. It will be. And both teams are going to be looking for a big win. NC State certainly could use that win over East Carolina with them playing some pretty good baseball right now. That'd be a good win for their resume. And if East Carolina can get that win and get a sweep over them for the year, that would look really big on a resume.
All right, let's get a break in. We got several other comments coming in. We got Riley Johnson. Somebody wants to know about him. Josh Thomas is asking about Scooter and mean tweets. We'll talk about that and more. This is Hoist the Colors on a Friday. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227. about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Fifth Street Hardware is the home of the $9 lunch special Tuesday through Fridays. $9 specials every day, including the famous Burger Day on Tuesdays, Flatbread Pizza Wednesday, the famous Fifth Street Hardware Reuben on Thursday, and fried fish or shrimp on Friday. Plus trivia on Wednesday nights and live music every Thursday nights. And the Prime Rib Brunch Buffet has returned on Sundays. You heard that right. The Brunch Buffet with all the great items, including prime rib. Fifth Street Hardware in downtown Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227. Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Arr, matey!
Back to the show with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the colors on this Friday, April 19th edition.
What'd I do? Why are you looking at me?
I thought you were laughing, but maybe you were just clearing your throat.
I'm just fired back up now about my NC State hatred. Like,
when did I clear my throat?
I could have sworn you made a noise when we retook the air, but maybe not.
I mean, I make noises, but I didn't clear my throat.
All right, so you're just making a random
You
noise.
should hear him between innings of baseball games.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have to hold it all in until the innings are
That is fair.
He holds in not only the bodily functions, but the words that are not allowed to be used on air, and like you got to get that mic down.
Now
quick.
that's the Hoist the Colors podcast after dark we need. How about you record in between innings with Scott Rogers?
I wish there was a way to do it. There's not a way to do it, unfortunately.
Well,
ooh, actually, there might be. I think I know.
Joe,
a way.
don't give him any
Let's
ideas.
do it. Let's do
I
it.
think we know the same way.
Yeah.
It could be a blooper reel, even though it wouldn't be bloopers.
We'll put it over like the follies from the old NFL films.
Yeah.
It'll just be all of Scooter's in-betweens.
Yeah.
Well,
that
I
would
guess
be
technically
fun.
it is recorded because I have my GoPro that's
Oh,
going.
that's true.
There you go.
That'd be the best.
We've
I
got
think if
two
I leave the mic on and turn channel 1 off and channel 2 on.
That's what
run
I was
a
thinking.
recording in the 94.3 studio.
Yeah.
I think it'll work.
And source it from another. Yep. We're here.
Ooh.
I think we're on to something.
Spicy.
Scooter will hear an echo of himself during, which will stink for him.
No
but-
echoes.
Well, that's the only way to do it.
All right.
Sorry.
If you're just joining us trying to figure out what's happening,
lot
Scott
is going
Rogers is to my right, Joe Sampson to my left, Stephen Igo here in the middle, and Philip Pilkington behind the glass is twisting the dials, doing his thing. All right, so Josh Thomas wants to know, is Scooter asking for mean tweets?
No.
And if Scooter, he says, if Scooter will follow me back, I won't mean tweet him. So apparently you aren't following Josh Thomas. What do you have to say about that? Do you have him blocked?
No, I don't block people.
You've never blocked a single person.
I don't. Well, I take that back. I block people that put pictures of body parts in comments. I think pretty much everybody gets those now.
Oh, yeah, that is.
The spam account.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
Spam
block
or bot,
spam
you get
accounts.
blocked.
I will say I've never blocked a real person on any social media. Now, those fake accounts is like the daily thing.
Actually, I blocked Stephen Igo on my old Twitter. Well, I had one Twitter account deleted because of the whole verification thing before it switched to X.
Yeah.
Oh.
So formerly known as
Wait,
Twitter.
you had me blocked?
Yeah, I had you blocked. Remember the Let Us Play thing you had to write about that I told you about, where you had to like get people's opinions on like why we should play, why we shouldn't play?
What, during COVID?
Yeah, during COVID.
Some people thought they shouldn't have been allowed to play.
Some people were trying to figure out like
Oh,
why
God, here we go.
one side of the locker room wanted to play and one didn't want to play.
Oh.
Igo was doing his journalistic investigating, and a couple guys took offense to that in the locker room, myself included. But we're good now.
I hardly remember.
Wait,
that.
why was Igo
2020.
claiming that some guys didn't want to play?
No, he was just writing an article about like who said let them play, who said we should sit out. Like that was all.
Were there any players? I know you can't name names that didn't want to play.
There were a couple, not name names, but like there were a couple for like health reasons. We're worried about it. Like some of the bigger guys with the large tarts that you like actually find when they're 6'7", 340 pounds. Like the mammoths of people were like, yeah, maybe let's not do that. We don't know how this affects people, but
crazy times.
Crazy times. So we're good now. But yeah, I did have the great Steven Igo blocked at one point.
I'm also still blocked by Big John, strength coach. I don't really know why.
Big John,
what's going on, Big John?
Where you at?
But then he doesn't follow me, or he doesn't have the Hoisted Colors account blocked, so I can still read it.
There's
or tweet
interaction. Yeah.
And
that's the
now
thing
we'll be
people don't
blocked.
understand. I have multiple accounts. I can get on the 94.3 The Game account, and for
And he's
example,
probably got a burner.
I probably do.
We have to find the Steven
Well,
Igo burner.
you just got 94.3 and HTC blocked by like 20 Pirate
That's
fans
fine.
just by saying that.
So Kendarius Small, the guy who transferred out yesterday, I couldn't find his tweet, and I realized that he had Steven Igo and Hoist the Colors blocked on Twitter.
Attaboy.
He may just not want to read about like him transferring or something. I don't
Could
know.
be.
So I got on 94.3 The Game, and I was able to view it. So he probably just blocked that one, but whatever.
Wow.
All right.
There we go.
Inside baseball there. So James Malice wants to know, needs some Riley Johnson for the weekend, or he needs some hype for the weekend. Is this the weekend he finally hits for the cycle in a game?
Ooh.
So when's the last? So what was it, like Steven Batts in like 2010 or something? The last cycle. I feel like it's been a long time.
That would sound right.
So I'm going to say that he's not going to hit for the cycle in a game. I think the more appropriate question is he going to hit for the cycle over the course of the weekend? I feel like that's more doable, Scooter.
I would say so. I will say I think that we will see another home run from Riley Johnson at some point this weekend.
Okay. Was he your pick to click?
He
well?
was.
So yeah.
Known power hitter.
I mean, he can swing it, man.
Yeah. Carter claims he's not a power hitter because Carter was
This is
junk talking him, saying that he wouldn't have to donate any money to the Children's Hospital in Riley's honor because Riley can't hit home runs.
Yeah.
And he hit like 2 that week, and he's hit 2 more since.
Mm-hmm.
So Carter, call somebody else out. Who else do we want Carter Cunningham to call out? So
he
they
called
hit
out
dingers?
Hoist the Colors on Instagram this morning. So
Luke Noah.
we put up this picture.
Call Luke Noah. Need a
put
bomb
up this
from Luke
picture
Noah.
of the game day graphic.
Oh, he probably took.
And which I think is a pretty cool picture.
It
He's
is a cool
sliding on
picture.
plate now. Look, his face is not in the most
It's an athletic face.
Is this
great
Carter?
position.
'Cause I can't see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just Carter, true strain.
If you go to Hoist the Colors, any social media account, it'll be like our game day graphic. And he commented, said, subpar picture. Got to be better ones to use out there with a, laughing, crying emoji. So just having some fun.
Yeah, you guys buried the hatchet too between your hatred of his walk-up
Yeah,
song last
yep,
year. Now
yeah.
you guys
I was
talking-
just fueling
talking
the
terms.
fire.
See?
Surprised he doesn't have me blocked on
It's a
Twitter,
renaissance.
I think
Unblock
it's a
Steven
great
Igo.
I think it's a great song.
I think
This year's is great.
This
for
year's
sure.
is great. Last year not as great.
See, I don't get to hear a lot of them because I'm
Yeah.
talking and just not paying attention.
And it's hard for us to hear him in the press box too, just because the windows are closed.
Yeah.
Jansen Kidd wants to know, Scooter, what are your thoughts on the state of the bullpen moving forward? So what do you have to say about that, Scooter?
I think, the bullpen right now just maybe a little bit of a rough stretch. The biggest thing, which I've said a lot of the time this year, is confidence is a big thing. You go out there and have a good outing. That will certainly help your confidence a lot. Guys like Danny Bill, Eric Ritchie. I think Ritchie, certainly gained some confidence from Tuesday night at William & Mary. It was not that bad of an outing that he had, certainly better than what he had leading up to that game. And so just building some confidence with these guys, I think is the biggest thing right now.
I really hope that Tuesday's game does not hurt anybody's confidence just because they were throwing into a Dixie cup for a strike zone. And even DiLorenzo, Scooter, like watching the Flow Sports broadcast, he was throwing multiple strikes that were called balls and
Right.
ended up walking in runs. Like that has to be just infuriating. You could see his body language on the mound. Like he kept his cool for a while, but then after a while it wears on you. So
I try to keep my cool as best as possible.
I kind of wish I was listening to your call now. I think the most I don't want to say disappointing, but I guess the two guys that ECU needs to find some level of consistency down the stretch is Jaden Winter and Eric Ritchie, because like they have the ability. It's just they need to go out and do it.
Sure, and that was certainly Jaden. I'm sure wants that game back from Tuesday.
And he was another guy who didn't get any calls.
Yeah, we're having that 4-0 lead, dealing with the walks. You hit the batter there, but yeah, I mean I think is going to be a big part of this pin going down the stretch, especially once you get into the conference tournament. Guys like him. Eric Ritchie, Aaron Groller, if you can get him back with the soreness that he's dealing with right now. And then, with the 2 times we've seen him, Parker Thomas, I don't think has looked terrible in his 2 outings at all.
He's gotten the job done.
Yeah, I mean, he got the job done against Elon, closing out that no-hitter. He came in a big spot than anybody's ever come into on Tuesday night to close out that game as a freshman. And so, do we see Parker Thomas a little bit more down the stretch here? And I think that's someone, too, that – guys like him, Corey Costello, you're going to need them at some point. And so having them getting the ability to come in, whether it's a late game situation, setup role, whatever, those guys are certainly at the ability to do it.
Chance for Colby Wallace in any of those roles then, kind of coming straight from the field into that 2-way position like Agnos did and like Burley did?
Maybe not this year. I think that's something you could see in the future because he is listed as a pitcher. I think
Peacher.
Came out wrong there. And certainly a guy, too, that has not pitched this year.
Right.
But one that the staff, I think, wanted to get some innings into preseason. I just don't think the situation has been right yet. But I think certainly in the future you could see him on the mound.
You don't know for sure because I've been waiting 5 years for Cam Clonch to pitch. And had we used Charlie Hodges the other night and then Charlie would have been done, Cam would have been next. We were 2 pitchers away from Cam Clonch the other night. Disappointing.
Yeah, and I think if Starling didn't go down, Wallace maybe wasn't playing the field as much. He could do some more pitching work, but that's kind of been put on back burner for now.
I have to say, Colby Wallace, I think, has done a tremendous job coming in for Jacob Starling. And, haven't really heard an update on Star. I know obliques can sometimes take a little bit longer than what they are. And, it's an injury, too, that you can't do anything with it. You've got to let it heal. You can't do PT or anything with it to make it get better. It's going to take us time. But Colby, I think, has done a great job, not only defensively but offensively as well.
Yeah, Cliff said Monday he was probably swinging at about 40-50%, but had not ran or swung 100%. And until you try that, and again, you don't want to try it too early because then you have a setback. You just don't know. All right, let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll address any final questions. We got to talk NASCAR as well at some point in the last 5 minutes. So we'll get Scooter's take on NASCAR. This is Hoist the Colors. We'll be right back.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport. Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Interbanks Media and 107.9 WNCT presents Concert on the Common.
1, 2, 3, say, I love beach music.
It's back April 25th with the Embers.
Hallelujah. Girls hit you hallelujah, 'cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you.
Don't miss Concert on the Common with the Embers.
Concert on the Common, thanks to Interbanks Media, the City of Greenville, and the Junior League of Greenville.
We'll see you at the show.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master. Let's go! Woo! Woo! Yeah! Woo!
Set the tone. Kyle, tie your shoes, tie your shoes. Yeah, good job. Woo! Yeah!
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild. When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Pirates play here. Arr! This is Hoist the Colors Radio with Stephen Igo.
Yes! That was so good!
On 94.3, The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors. That is the laugh of Scott Rogers. And Joe Sampson also in studio along with Philip Pilkinson. All right, let's try to get through some of these questions real quick.
Oh, God.
Zach Williams says, any other basketball recruiting visits happening soon? Zach, there is some visitors planned for the next few weeks. From talking with some sources over there, I think they're really trying to keep things quiet until commitments are imminent, like Julian Samaro, who I talked to yesterday. Very mature young man, wants to come in and be a leader. So I think we'll see some basketball news here shortly. They still have 5 more spots to fill, so they got to get somebody. He also says, I'm assuming we may recruit another receiver with Omega Blake's departure. Any targets there? I would say receiver, they're pretty deep still, and the numbers are deep. They actually have 3 incoming freshmen as well. Plus, if they could get a dynamic guy, maybe you try to do that, but I think they're happy with receiver. I think O-line is more the concern right now. And then last question, then we'll get into NASCAR. If we have close games this weekend, James wants to know who's going to pitch in the late innings. Shenkman threw 74 on Tuesday. I won't think we see him at all this weekend. I think he does throw this weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. James, Scooter, you can expand on this along with Joe, but I think Norby, you would like to save him for Sunday, but if you need a bullpen guy, you probably go to him Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, and I think that's somebody we could see tonight, possibly, on how the game goes. But I think it's also one in the back of their minds that they would try to save to start on Sunday.
Yeah, it just depends on how the games go, Joe. So ideally, you get a big lead, you don't have to throw somebody, but it doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah, if you're up 13-5, you could throw Charlie Hodges and give him some innings, give him some runs there, and just
Charlie Hodges Alley.
Charlie Hodges Alley. Official group chat name.
Official group chat name.
However, will we replace Caleb LeCount? But I think in that situation, if you can get into those scenarios and you save him, I think he's got like an allocated amount of innings for this weekend, whether you throw 2 tonight, 2 on Sunday, or however you get there. If he doesn't throw anything, he could start Sunday, give you a nice start, give you 4 or 5 maybe. But I think they're watching him as well as his pitch count to see what they give him. But I wouldn't rule out him throwing tonight, like Scooter said, and then also opening Sunday.
And it also depends matchup-wise, too, with how Wichita State is.
A lot of lefties.
All right, Talladega this weekend. Philip, we'll go to you first. What are the expectations?
A lot of wrecks. You're better off. You stand a better chance to win the lottery than you do to finish a race at Talladega without damage or out being caught up in somebody's incident. Hey, you got to be in order to finish first one must finish. So you got to remember that. Try and stay out of it for the first 187 laps, and then try and make your moves on lap 188. And look, there's guys who are better at super speedways. Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, Bubba Wallace. You'd expect those guys to be at the front. But hey, if they get taken out in somebody else's carnage on lap 1, they can't be there. So we'll see what happens. But it should be a fun one. If you're going to watch a NASCAR race, this is the one to watch. There's always a battle for the lead. The cars don't get spread out. They're constantly 3 wide, and there's always an opportunity for the big one to take out 20 to 25 cars.
Joey Logano is the betting favorite, 9-1, according to some of the odds I'm looking at. Brad Keselowski next, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace. What do you think, Joe, about those names in Talladega?
Yeah, Keselowski is honestly the first one that came to my mind. I didn't know my fighting paisano brother, Joey Logano, was the betting favorite. That makes me happy. But I think, like Philip said, it comes down to who is in what could be 15th going into lap 188. My pick would be whoever qualifies like 18th, just outside of the top 15. He's probably going to be the one that has the best chance to win because he stays out of the wreckage and then probably gets a good pit exit coming out of that stage 3, going into stage 4, trying to manage the tires. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention Martin Truex and his experience at knowing how to handle these things and picking him as a dark horse.
Yeah, despite being 0 for 107 or whatever on super speedways in his career.
Yes.
Zyger really asking me about this.
Yeah, who's going to win, Scooter?
Someone in a race car.
Okay, there we go.
Hey, you know what? It could be like Talladega Nights where every car wrecks and then the guy in the pace car ends up winning. Yeah.
So where does this rank? I'm guessing it's not quite Daytona for y'all, but it's up there in terms of just you have to watch it as NASCAR
top
fans?
5.
Yeah, top 5, easy.
All right, well, we'll stay tuned to that. Hopefully my guy Blaney can get a W. He's had a lot of good finishes this year, but no wins yet since I joined the fan club. All right, our time has come. This show flew by, and it is time to go to the baseball field here shortly, Clark LeClaire Stadium. Scooter, appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Joe, appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Phillip, air fist bump, appreciate
Thanks,
you.
bud.
Behind the scenes. It's been a fun week. Next week, we'll start to have some ECU football players on through our deals with Team Boneyard. We'll have Elijah Morris on Tuesday, Deontay Johnson Thursday. We'll have Savone Revel later in the month of May as well. We got to get out of here. This is Hoist the Colors. We'll see you next week.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all things ECU sports. Get a recap of the show at 943thegame.com, on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We're back Monday with